I'm June Bennett, 30 years old, a software engineer in Frankfort, Kentucky. At my family's reunion party, my sister's charm hid a scam that broke us apart. The banquet hall buzzed with cousins, friends, and locals, all gathered to welcome my sister back from studying abroad. I stood near the punch bowl, pasting on a smile, as she waltzed in, her boyfriend trailing, both radiating confidence. I'd sunk $50,000 of my savings into our family's investment fund, believing it secured our future. But that night, everything flipped. My parents toasted her, calling her the family's pride. Then she turned to me, her voice cutting. "June, you need to move out. We need your room for our plans." Her boyfriend gave a sharp nod, his eyes cold. My chest tightened, a wave of heat rising. "I've been funding this family," I started, but Dad interrupted. "June, she's got ambition. You're just coding." My sister leaned in. "Time to step aside, sis." The words hit like a punch, their dismissal burning. I gripped my glass, my anger simmering. They thought I'd just take it, but I was already planning to tear their world down. "Where are you watching? Share your city below. I want to see who's with me." My sister's words stung deeper than I'd expected. "June, you're dragging us down," she said, her tone sharp, as we stood in the kitchen, the party's hum fading behind us. Her boyfriend lounged nearby, flipping through his phone, a sly glance my way, like he was in on her plan. I'd just been told to leave my home for their big plans, and now this. I kept my voice steady, my hands clenched. "Rain, I've poured everything into this family's fund, my savings, my time." She scoffed, tossing her hair. "Time. You mean sitting behind a computer? We need real ambition, June." I looked to Mom, hoping for a spark of fairness. She was wiping a countertop, her eyes averted. "Mom, I've funded your dreams for years. Doesn't that count?" She sighed, her voice flat. "Your sister's got a future, June. You need to make room." Dad stepped in, his tone final. "She's right. They're going places. You're not." My throat burned, their betrayal like a weight on my chest. I wasn't nothing. I'd turned down promotions, skipped vacations, poured every spare hour into coding to keep our family's investment fund alive, believing it was for all of us. My sister just took the spotlight, dazzling everyone with her charm. Her boyfriend looked up, his smile taunting. "Face it, June. You're not built for the big time." I bit back a retort, but something felt off. I'd seen him flash a new watch, its diamonds catching the light, and their sleek sedan parked outside way beyond what a student could afford. Then, 2 days ago, I'd found a receipt in his jacket pocket, $10,000, for consulting services from our family fund, wired to a company I'd never heard of. Funds don't just vanish like that. I'd also caught him whispering on a call something about finalizing the transfer before he spotted me and hung up. I left the kitchen, their words echoing my anger simmering. In my room, I opened my laptop, pulling up the fund's records I'd helped manage. One entry stopped me, a transfer of $12,000 to an account labeled Next Gen Ventures, no paperwork attached. My sister had always been the face of our family's dreams, charming investors, while I crunched the numbers. Now I saw her charm for what it was, a cover. I texted my friend, a tech whiz who'd hacked systems bigger than this. "Faye, I need you to dig into something." I wrote, my fingers steady. They thought I'd stay quiet, roll over like always. But I was done being their shadow. I was going to crack their lies wide open. That night, I couldn't sleep, my sister's taunt. "You're dragging us down," looping in my head. The bank statement I'd found, $12,000 gone to Next Gen Ventures, gnawed at me. I had to dig deeper. I slipped into the guest room where my sister had left her laptop, its screen still glowing. Her password was laughably simple, unchanged since college. I opened her email, my pulse racing, and scrolled until a message from her boyfriend caught my eye. Fund transfer. $50,000 confirmed. It detailed a wire from our family's investment fund to a startup called Peak Pulse, with a note, Phase 1 complete. Investors won't suspect. My stomach twisted. This wasn't a mistake. Our family's savings. My savings were being funneled somewhere dark. I texted my friend, a tech whiz who'd cracked tougher systems than this. Faye, I need you to check something I said, sending her the email screenshot. She called back within an hour, her voice tense. June, Peak Pulse is a front. It's a Ponzi scheme tied to a network scamming thousands. Your sister's boyfriend is neck deep in it. My breath caught a chill running through me. The fund I'd built every late night coding to keep it safe was being used to fuel their lies. I drove to my parents' house at dawn. The email printout crumpled in my hand. They were in the dining room, flipping through photos from the party. Mom, Dad, we need to talk, I said, tossing the paper on the table. Rain's startup is a scam. Her boyfriend stealing our money, $50,000 already gone. Dad's jaw tightened. June, stop making trouble. You're just jealous. Mom clutched her necklace, her voice soft. Rain's building a future. Don't ruin it with your suspicions. I pushed harder, my voice cracking. This is proof they're using our fund for a Ponzi scheme. Dad stood his eyes hard. Enough. You're embarrassing yourself. Let it go. Their dismissal hit like a slap, but I wasn't shocked. They'd always picked her no matter what. I grabbed the paper, my hands steady now. Fine. You won't listen. But I'm not done. I left their words fueling my resolve. Back at my apartment, I dove into the fund's digital records, pulling up transaction logs I'd never thought to check. Another email from her boyfriend surfaced, this one to an unknown contact, keep the payouts rolling. She's covering the rest. I cross-referenced Peak Pulse's website, sleek, polished, but the investor names were fake, no real addresses, just shells. My friend texted, found a backdoor to their server. Meet me tomorrow. I stared at my screen, my anger cold and sharp. They thought I was just a coder too small to matter. But I was about to tear their scam apart. The next day, I went back to the banquet hall, my nerves buzzing, but my focus sharp. My friend had pieced together a video screenshots of the email's transaction logs showing the Ponzi transfers, her boyfriend's messages about keeping the investors blind. I'd worked through the night loading it onto a USB drive, my fingers flying over the keys. The party was winding down, guests mingling, my sister chatting up a group of locals. I ducked into the tech room, the door unlocked, and connected the drive to the projector system. It took seconds to override the controls, my heart thumping. This was my moment. They'd ignored me, chosen her, but now they'd face the truth. I hit play and the projector hummed to life. The screen filled with the email, $50,000 to Peak Pulse Phase 1 complete. Then the logs, wires to fake accounts, promises of guaranteed returns. Murmurs spread through the room. A neighbor stood, his voice rising. Is this for real? My sister's face drained of color, her drink trembling in her hand. Her boyfriend bolted toward the projector, but I blocked his path. My voice steady. You thought I'd stay quiet? Your scam ends now, Rain. She gasped, June, this is a setup. Turn it off. But the video rolled on fake investor profiles, proof the startup was a house of cards. People shifted, some pulling out phones to record. An old family friend, a banker who'd invested, pointed at my sister. You tricked us into this. My parents rushed forward, Mom grabbing my arm. June, what have you done? Dad yelled, stop this madness. I pulled away. My eyes locked on them. You told me to let it go. Now see what that cost. Her boyfriend shoved through the crowd, but security guards called by a guest held him back. 2 officers arrived, flashing badges. Nathan, hands up one, barked, cuffing him. As he protested, I didn't do anything. My sister collapsed into a chair, tears streaming, pleading with the crowd. It's not true, believe me. But they backed away, their faces hard. I stood firm, the years of silence breaking free. Every promotion I'd skipped, every dollar I'd given, every doubt they'd planted, it all ended here. I walked past my sister, her sobs fading behind me, and didn't turn back. Mom called out, her voice breaking. June, we're sorry. I kept going. Sorry doesn't fix your choice. The officers hauled her boyfriend away, the room emptying fast. I stepped outside into the Frankfurt evening, the air cool on my skin, a weight lifting. They'd tried to erase me, but I'd just rewritten their story. The aftermath was swift and merciless. By noon the next day, Peak Pulse's website was down, its name plastered across Kentucky news as a Ponzi scheme. My sister faced lawsuits from investors, her polished image crumbling as she stood outside the courthouse, eyes hollow, avoiding reporters' questions. Frankfurt's tight-knit community turned cold neighbors who'd once cheered her now whispered behind her back. Her boyfriend sat in jail charged with fraud, his confidence replaced by a blank stare in his mugshot. My parents' social circle, built on years of hosting parties, vanished overnight, their reputation buried under the scandal. I watched it unfold from my rented studio in Frankfurt, my laptop open, boxes half unpacked around me. 3 days later, my phone lit up with Mom's call, her voice trembling. "June, we're drowning. The lawsuits, they're demanding $70,000 we don't have. Please come back." I gripped the phone, my heart steady. "You chose her over me, Mom. Good luck." She choked on a sob, but I hung up. Dad texted soon after, his words softer than ever. "We were wrong, June. We need you." I stared at the screen, my jaw set. "You needed me when I was funding your dreams, Dad." "Not anymore." I didn't respond. I'd given them years of my savings, my career, my trust. They tossed it aside for her. I packed my bags and moved to Burlington, Vermont, chasing a job lead from my friend, a tech startup needing a lead engineer. I jumped in coding late into the night, building a platform that landed our first client a $20,000 contract. I leased a small apartment downtown, hung a few photos on the walls, and joined a hiking group, the crisp Vermont air clearing my head. My friend stopped by one evening, her smile wide as we shared coffee. "You're building something real, June," she said. I nodded, a spark of pride flaring. I was finally living for me. Back in Frankfurt, my family was unraveling. My sister worked odd retail jobs, her charm useless against the town's scorn. My parents sold their home to cover legal fees, moving into a rundown rental. Dad picked up shifts as a warehouse clerk, his shoulders slumped from exhaustion. Mom cleaned offices, her hands worn from long hours. They sent voicemails pleading for help, but I let them go unanswered. My sister mailed a letter, a half-hearted apology claiming she was misled by her boyfriend. I tossed it in the trash. They'd made their bed, choosing her lies over my truth. I wasn't their fallback anymore. Walking away hurt, but it freed me. I'd carried them too long, and now they were facing the consequences of their choices. 6 months later, I leaned back in my chair at a Burlington cafe. The Vermont skyline soft against the evening glow, my laptop open with a new project pitch. My startup was soaring $30,000, secured from our latest client, a local app built from scratch under my lead. I'd rented a bright apartment near Lake Champlain, its walls lined with sketches from late-night brainstorming and shelves packed with tech books. My friend dropped by most weekends, her chatter filling the space as we mapped out our next big idea over pizza. "June, you're on fire," she said one night, grinning, as we toasted to a new contract. A steady calm settled over me, a feeling I hadn't known in years. I was building a life that was mine, not theirs. Back in Frankfurt, my family was barely holding on. My sister scraped by with temp jobs, her once bright charm now a liability, shunned by everyone who'd once praised her. My parents lived in a cramped duplex, their dreams of status gone. Dad worked late as a security guard, his face lined with fatigue. Mom took on bookkeeping gigs, her voice faint in messages I didn't answer. They'd sent texts, even a handwritten note from my sister begging for forgiveness, claiming she'd been fooled by her boyfriend. I left them unread, stacked in a drawer. I'd given them my savings, my time, my trust, only to be pushed aside. Their regret couldn't change that. Looking back, that night at the reunion party was my turning point. I stopped being their shadow and chose myself. Family isn't just blood. It's the people who see your worth, who stand by you, not the ones who tear you down for their gain. I learned to set boundaries to protect my heart, even when it stung. You can't let anyone, family, or not steal your value. Stand tall, say no, and build your own path. Thanks for following my story, for staying through the betrayal and the fight. Walking away from family is hard, but sometimes it's the only way to save yourself. Have you ever had to stand up to your family to claim your worth? Drop your story in the comments. I want to hear it. And if this resonated, hit that subscribe button. Let's keep talking about what it means to fight for ourselves,